What's happening, everybody? Out here getting my traps ready. Gonna be dipping them here in a little bit. You may have already seen that video, but while I had some of my stuff out here, I figured I would do a little video to show y'all the basics of what you need to start catching critters. Okay, now all of this stuff is commercial bought things. I've talked a little bit in a previous video about how you don't have to really use commercial stuff like anchors. You don't have to have the type of anchors that I'm using. You can use rebar. That's what we use at work. You don't have to have this particular hammer that I'm going to show you to dig your bed with. Okay, so some of this stuff you don't have to have the exact same thing that I do. You can use something probably that's already in your shop, in your toolbox. This is just stuff that I've picked up to try and make it more consistent, my catches more consistent. So I made me a little handy dandy list here, and none of these are really in order except number one. Number one is a must. If you are going to be trapping animals, can you guess the number one thing that you gotta have? A trap. That's right. So these traps are what I have at the moment. I have other stuff ordered, but these are going to get you covered for the basics, like your nest raiders, that being your raccoons, possums, skunks. Then you have your bobcats. That's bobcats and coyotes around here are a big nuisance for the turkey population, quail population, deer population, all of those type things. So yeah, these traps are for those animals. And if you see any kind of smoke or debris falling out of the air on me, we are burning trash in our backyard while I'm filming. But yeah, so moving on. This is what they call a dog proof, a DP trap. And this is what you would use for your raccoons. I've caught possums on these. I've caught skunks, unfortunately, on these. So trap is number one. If you're after raccoons or nest raiders like that, something like this is going to be super easy to use and travel with, you know. All right, so that's for the nest raiders and everything. These are your MB 550. Okay, so these are called coil spring traps, I believe. And this particular one is an MB 550. And this is what was recommended to me use. So this right here is more of a target for your bobcats and your coyotes and stuff like that. Foxes, caught foxes in these. But I mean, a raccoon is going to check these out. Possum, that kind of stuff. You're still going to catch these on there. But this is what I'm going to be putting in the ground soon. So we've covered your two basic traps. Like I said, depending on what you're catching, beaver traps, you're going to have bigger than this, and they're going to be a different style, right? I mean, and depending on the animal that you're after, you know, I mean, I bought some of these because I've had people ask me about a mole problem. So I bought some of these things. We're going to see how those are. Hey, baby. Got my dog up under my camera here. So we talked traps, anchors. Let's talk anchors. How are you going to keep the animal from running off with your trap? If you took, I'm starting to get a tangled mess here. Stick with what we got here. If you bought just this trap, it is only going to come like this, okay? So you could stab this part in the ground, but if a raccoon comes along and gets caught, one, that raccoon's going to be able to pull this out, right, and run off with it. If by some wild chance the raccoon can't pull this out, there's a good chance that the coyote or bobcat that comes along to eat the raccoon, you know, will definitely be able to pull this out if it's not anchored to something. So you're going to have to pick an anchor. This is the type of anchor that I've chose to go with, but I mean, there's several different kinds. I've ordered another kind too. This is for going in the ground. It is a you have to have a driver to drive this portion in the ground, and that anchors this to your trap site, right? So I've ordered a different type of anchor that if I'm like around trees, a bunch of trees, it connects here, the same spot, but it's just a wire. It's like a snare type wire that you can wrap around a tree or a limb or a big rock or something that's next to it, and it's real easy to undo. That way, if you want to move sets, you can do it a lot faster versus, you know, once you drive this into the ground, it's going to take a little bit of effort to get this up out of the ground. So I have ordered some different anchors, and I don't have them here, but they will be here soon. So once you have your traps and your anchors, you're going to have to come up with a way of connecting them, okay? There are several ways that you could think of to do that. The place that I order my stuff from, which is, let's see here, F&T Fur Harvesters Trading Post. Really cool place. There's the logo right there, so you can look them up. Really cool place. They, once you reach a certain amount on your order, they give you free gifts that you can choose from, which is super cool. On one order, they applied a discount to my order that I didn't even ask for, so that was super cool. So shout out to those guys. But there's different connectors that you can go with. Quick links, they have those. Here's another type that I'm using, a J-hook. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so the J-hook is just that J portion right there, right? So you just run it through there, get you some channel locks, and squeeze it onto your anchor there, and there you go. There's lots of ways that you can come up with to connect your trap to your anchor. So, I mean, you can just pick what you want, but it is something that you have to have. Okay, so we've done those three. Bedding tools. I've got a video or a couple of videos out there where I've shown you how that I bed my traps. And again, you probably have something in your toolbox that can get you by with bedding traps. You don't have to have this commercial stuff, you know, to go out there and start putting traps in the ground. At work, I use a regular hammer that has just a good claw on the back that I can dig out, and a spade tool of some sort. But this is what they have on websites, on trapping websites. I can't even remember what it's called, but they had a name for it. It's like a little sledgehammer with a claw on the back, and you use this to dig out your bed for your traps. And you're going to want a small shovel of some sort so you can do your bait hole. Some people use a drill with a what do you call those bits? Auger bit that goes in the ground. But if you are in clay soil, you are not going to be able to use that auger very well. It's not going to work. So you're going to need something to break through that clay. At work, for the bait hole, all I have is a little shovel, and at first I was just using like a piece of rebar. You drive the rebar in the ground and kind of like waller it out, and it just leaves a little hole that you put your bait in. So you don't have to, again, you don't have to have exactly this stuff, but bedding tools, hammer and a spade of some sort, okay? Anchor driver. I talked to y'all about the anchors that I have, right? So this is the anchor that I went with. Wish I could tell you the name of it because I do not know off the top of my head. But this is the driving tool, the anchor driver, okay? And it just fits in here like so, all right? And you pretty much just drive this into the ground with your hammer, and you are going to be burying that much of chain. All of that is going to be in the ground. Once this is driven into the ground like that, you tug on your chain, which makes this turn long ways like that, and that is supposed to set, right? So that's why I say if you use these, it's going to take a little bit of effort to get it out. So that's why I'm going to be ordering some different type anchors. That way I can move my sets faster if I need to. So you have your anchor driver, and that is the basics of like the gear or hardware, I should say, that you need. That's it. The next item that I'm going to say is not a, I mean, it's good to have, but it is a rabbit hole to go down, okay? Bait. Now everybody is going to have their own kind of bait. You got tons of people that make their own kind of bait. You got people that use scraps. You got people that use leftover, whatever. okay? Raccoons, for instance, okay? These DPs, at work, I use marshmallows, okay? You can put marshmallows down here. That's okay. Raccoons have a sweet tooth. Raccoons also love fishiness. If you've been watching any of my recent videos, I've been having some really good luck with sardines and fish oil. And recently we've been like cutting up bits of whole fish, and you'd have to watch another video to find out where I got the fish from. But coons love a fishiness, and they have a sweet tooth. So use your imagination. You can come up with any kind of concoction that you want to save money or whatever. You can use your kids' cereal if you want to. I mean, I don't know. It's just a mixture of things. Cat food, you know, that's flavored for fish. That's a big thing. But like I said, you can go down a big rabbit hole of what bait you want to use, right? And a lot of it works. A lot of it works. It doesn't seem like coons are that picky until they are. You know, sometimes you'll have success with something and then it'll go dry and you just switch it up and then you'll start catching critters again. So although at work I use, or my land and wildlife management job, I use like stuff that we can find around the farm or something like that. We use sardines a lot. Like I said, marshmallows are real big. For the properties I'm going to start doing on my own, I'm going to go with more commercial baits and lures because I want to increase my catches. I want it to be consistent, and I think that is why you have all these lines of commercial baits and lures and stuff, because it's going to produce more consistent results. So I want to show you some things. I don't have no affiliation with any of these brands. I haven't even tried any of these yet. You'll see that all these still have the seals on them and everything. But this first one right here, I'm pretty excited about because this guy that makes this is local to me, right? So big shout out to Hammer Time, Wild Man's Hammer Time raccoon bait. I think the guy's name is Jared. I've talked to him on Facebook Messenger. Super cool, took time to answer my questions. That's a big deal for me, being a guy starting out. But haven't even opened this, so I don't exactly know what it is. I've seen some of his pictures online, and I do know that it looked like it had corn in it, shelled corn maybe. But this was given to me by a family member that got it from him. So I'm excited about this. And some other things that I have here. Boom, bobcat urine, okay. I've caught several bobcats recently. The last two that I caught, I was able to use bobcat urine on, and it really brought them in. So that's not something that you can find around the farm unless, you know, you take it from a cat that you caught previously, which is kind of what I did with the ones that I caught. But you can go down a long rabbit hole, like I said, of baits, and everybody's going to have their favorite. Everybody's going to swear by this, swear by that. And no, that's for you to decide. You know what I'm saying? The baits and lures are something that you're going to have to dabble with to see what you like. But that's pretty much the basics, guys. You're going to need your traps, obviously. You got to have your anchor so the animal don't run off with your traps. Connectors, so you can connect your trap to your anchors. Bedding tools, hammer, small shovel of some sort. Anchor driver. If you do have anchors like these, you'll have to have a driving tool for it. And your bait. And that is basically it. And of course, I'm going to be dipping mine in this. This is not a have-to. This is just extra that I'm doing. And this is supposed to, let me see here. It seals up odors. It protects from rust. And it supposedly speeds up the trap. So we'll see. A lot of people use wax. I didn't want to do the wax because I don't have a burner. I didn't want to have to. There's just a lot that goes into fooling with the wax. This, you pour it in a bucket, you dip your trap in it, and you let it hang for 24 hours as long as the temperatures are right. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. For beginner, that is the basics, right? There are other things you can add. There may be something that I'm missing that a professional or pro that's been doing it may chime in and say, hey, you missed this. That's fine. Let me know what you use. But that's it, guys. And soon we have several properties now that we've been asked to come and do some trapping on. None of this covers beavers. I've made a big order for beaver supplies, beaver trapping supplies, and we'll go over that too when I get it. And can't wait to show y'all some animals. Right now I'm doing pretty good with all the nest raiders. Those are fairly easy to catch. I'm up to 3 bobcats now. Those are pretty fun to catch. Still have more of those to go. And I'm still waiting to catch my first coyote. I'm pretty excited about that. Waiting to make it happen. With this commercial grade stuff, I'm really expecting some good results, guys. If you're bedding your trap properly, you're picking a good location, this is where I think commercial grade bait and lures shine, because you can use chicken scraps, you can use fish, whatever, you know. But let me tell you, I've cracked the lid on some of this stuff right here. Excuse me. And it has got an odor like you wouldn't believe, right? So these animals can really, really smell this. And a lot of this holds up after a rain as well, which some of your other things are just the scent's gonna get washed away. But anyways, I'm trying to keep this under 15 minutes, and I'm approaching the 15-minute mark. So I will just leave y'all with this and hope to share some results with y'all very soon. Y'all be good.